Hi everybody, this is Andreas, business coach. Today I'm with Anne Gill, and she runs Gill Eyecare, an independent optician in North End. So I wanted to talk to her and understand, why do you become an optician? What's the fascination and how is everything going? So Anne, thanks for talking to me.
Hi.
Much appreciated.
It's okay.
So tell me a bit more about yourself and how did you get into becoming an optician?
Okay. When I was 18, I left school, college, and I was looking for work.
Yeah.
And I found work eventually in an optician's, just working on reception.
Right.
And I enjoyed it. It was great. The guy that I was working with was training to be a dispensing optician, and he said to me, why don't you consider training to do the dispensing course as well? So I thought, oh, I'll ask. My boss said, no, you can't. So I asked the boss above my boss, and he came down to meet me. That was GC Bateman from GC Bateman Opticians.
Right.
And he said, yes, he'd love to put me on the course. I continued working, and they trained me, and I worked for them for 35 years.
Oh, blimey.
But
Long
then
time.
they went into administration, sadly, and were bought out by a large corporate. And as the market changed, because the market within optics and any field has changed dramatically over the last few years, businesses are coming in. When I first started in optics, Specsavers didn't exist.
All right.
And when they appeared, the market that was then, they'll just go away. No one's going to want to go to a place like that. But of course, it's totally different now, because their marketing is so strong. And the sort of the older opticians that I grew up with, most of them have now disappeared because they did no marketing. They just assumed, they just assumed people would continue to come to them, and people don't.
So just having enough in terms of the shop and a shop window was enough to draw people in.
No,
but obviously it wasn't, and
not
it isn't.
at all. It isn't. You have to work at it constantly.
Right.
You can't assume. After 35 years with Bateman's, we were taken over, as I say, by the large corporate. They made me redundant after a couple of years because I didn't fit their business model. And I worked as a locum, which basically means I would go anywhere and work, do a day's work, and was paid a day for each day I did.
Okay.
And that was really interesting because I had been with Bateman's for so long, and I'd worked in a certain way for so long, I thought that was the only way you could work.
Right.
But when you start working in different companies, you start to learn lots of different things, and you can pick the good bits.
Right.
Yeah, you can pick the good bits and leave the bad bits. And after a while, an old friend approached me and said, would I like to join his business and go into partnership with him. Right. That didn't work, that didn't happen, it didn't materialise, but it gave me the idea that actually I could do it on my own. Right. And so the idea was born.
So the seed was planted.
The seed was planted, and after the idea was born, I found premises. It took me I found the premises in February, and it took me to the following January to actually open my doors. So it was January 2013 I actually opened, but it was February 2012 that I started the journey. Right.
What kind of were your learnings? What were your kind of challenges that you had to overcome?
Well, first of all, I know about optics. I know about eyes. I know about glasses and frames. So I knew that side of it. So that was easy. I saw my old reps that I used to know from years ago. They all came in. We got lots of good stock in. That was the easy part. And then it comes to HR. Right. And how do you look after staff? Well, up until then, I'd always had an HR department. They told me what to do, and if I had a problem, they would advise always. And things like fire extinguishers, and just all the legalities around that sort of stuff. It was completely alien to me, so that was quite challenging to do.
How did you learn this?
Well, my accountant, who had been recommended to me by the bank, recommended I went off to networking. Right. So I went off to networking, and I thought it would be dead easy. You say your piece, and then everybody comes to get their eyes tested, and your business flourishes. It doesn't actually work like that at all. What I found was lots of very clever people that know things that I don't, like HR policies, and how to write good contracts, and how to look after health and safety. Okay,
so challenges was HR, challenges was, so you were good at obviously being an optician, but all the other things that come as a business owner didn't come easy for you.
No, they were.
What about the sales and the marketing?
Well, again, that was another, I knew you had to do it. I had no idea how to do it, On the day that I opened the doors and I sat here alone for the day. What on earth are we going to do? So we started leafleting, that was our first thing, and that was the family, my children, my husband, who were out round the streets leafleting.
Did they produce any results?
Not instantly, no. The first weekend we put out thousands of leaflets, and I came back in on the Monday morning, thought, I don't know how I'm going to cope with the phone ringing and all these people making appointments. Nothing, absolutely nothing. It's like, okay, now what? But the interesting thing is with the leafleting, I found that people would come back 6 months to a year after I put that leaflet through the door and say, oh, I'd like to come and have my eyes tested now.
Oh wow, okay.
So,
well, that's interesting. So the leafleting didn't produce instant results, so you were still sitting on your own in your
I was
in
still
your shop?
sitting here, sadly, and alone, but having always worked in the North End area, because it was the practice that I was in was just up the road, lots of people started finding me and walking past and like, oh, Anne, and they'd come in and have a coffee and a chat, and slowly, desperately slowly, it started to build that. So we just were out there leafleting and just making ourselves known, really. That was the most important thing.
Did you do anything else in terms of marketing besides leafleting, and did you contact old customers, or did you?
You have to be very careful about that. I couldn't contact them directly, but I knew most of my patient base was in the North End area, so the leafleting was, and it was very targeted too. I used to work at Bateman's. You may have seen me there. I'd love to see you again.
I see.
So a lot of people are like, oh, I've got your leaflet, and they came in to have a chat.
Okay, and that's how you gradually build the business up.
I didn't, at the beginning, I didn't believe it would take as long as it did. I truly thought within 2 years it would all be going really strongly and well.
How long did it take you then to create a business that you think is worthwhile?
I would say it's taken me the 5 years.
The 5 years?
Yeah, definitely.
To get to the point where now you have staff members, you have a recurring clientele that come to you.
Yeah, and the other thing that's interesting is when people come for their sight test every 2 years, but they will only purchase spectacles every 4 years.
Right, so now you can cater for that kind of momentum.
Yes.
It's kind of a cycle, isn't it?
It is. So now I'm 5 years into it, it's not quite as horrific as it was when I was 2 years into it.
Do you do any other marketing now? Do you still do the leaflet dropping, or has it stopped?
Yes, still do the leaflet dropping, but I get someone to do it for me now. I don't do that on my own anymore. I don't give up my weekends for that.
No.
We do lots of other things. I've got a chap that does my PR for me, Robin, and we get a lot of articles in the press.
Okay.
Advertising doesn't seem to really do it, but if you've got something of interest, then people will read it. So we get a lot of articles we put into the press.
So in your opinion, is it all about relationship building rather than just pure advertising?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right,
Yeah,
so more PR than actually advertising.
Yeah, more PR than that.
Right.
And it's having a story to tell as well. The press don't want to print a lot of nonsense.
No,
they want
obviously.
a story, they want to know about a person and what you've done for them. The latest thing that we've got a press release going out on is a really lovely lady that we've done some low visual aids for, and she did some videos for us and did an interview which we're putting forward to the press at the moment. Because low visual aids, there are a lot of people that have a lot of problems with their sight. They've lost areas of vision, and there is a fabulous scheme that runs in Portsmouth to support them, but people don't know about it.
Sweet, and you're really sure
so
about it.
it really is important to get out and tell people that it actually exists.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Were there any other challenges that you faced then during the 5-year period, besides the sales and the marketing?
Staffing can be challenging sometimes.
Finding the right staff?
Finding the right staff can be challenging, and keeping the right staff.
Keeping them motivated, engaged in the business.
Yes.
So is there a moment in your last 5 years where you're really proud of, something you really think you have achieved? Is there anything you would like to share with us?
When I got to my 5th birthday party, it was like, wow, I've got 5 years, I've done 5 years, that was quite incredible. I think my achievements come sort of daily almost. When someone picks up a pair of spectacles and they can see for reasonably well, and we've achieved something they didn't expect, and when they write you letters, like yesterday we had 2 thank you cards for people just saying thank you, and I put my glasses on, I smile every morning.
Nice.
And it's just such a lovely thing to say. So we get a lot of that. We get a lot of people reacting and a lot of interaction with people, and a lot of people just come in for a cup of tea and a chat. So that's really nice. I think I'm proud mostly of the relationships I've built with people, with my patient base and with my staff.
absolutely. And I know you still do networking.
Yes.
So that still works for you to this
It
day?
does, absolutely.
So you're not only getting advice from that, but I guess you also get clients from that now as well?
I do have a little group of people that come to see me. I get quite a lot of phone calls about people who have problems, and what they need to do, what should they do, and hopefully I've taught people a few things as well.
Yeah. And is there any advice that you could give to anybody who's new to networking?
With networking, it's not a fast fix. You have to build relationships. You have to go week after week and get to know people. It's not a fast fix.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be, I'll go, then everybody will come to me, and it isn't like that at all. You have to build these relationships.
How long did it take you?
I would say about a year.
A year to networking?
Yeah, it was about a year.
And then they come back to you?
And then people started coming to me. So yeah, it's about a year before people started trusting me enough to want to come.
Yeah.
And hard to believe, but when I first went networking, I only stood up for about 10 seconds, said my name and sat down again, and was terrified. And I know it might be hard to believe now, but yeah.
And how did you overcome that? What did you do?
I don't know. I just kept on going and kept on doing it.
Kept on practicing.
Kept on saying the words. And then eventually I decided that my niche would be to tell stories about what's happened in practice. And that seems to work.
Yeah.
Because standing there and selling a pair of spectacles to someone, no one is going to be interested.
But people like listening to stories.
They like stories. So stories for me, and I've got lots.
And I know from my experience with you, they can be quite gory.
Yeah, I can be quite gory, yes.
The worms in the eyes.
The worm in the eye, that's a good one for this morning, yes.
So.
And I have a video, but I won't show it to you.
Great. So what's the next big thing for you?
Next big thing? Well, this year we spent a lot, I suppose actually, we've bought some really big equipment this year. So I bought something called an OCT, an optical coherence tomographer, and that will take a scan of the layers of the retina of your eye.
Right.
So that was probably that has been my biggest purchase within the business so far, because setting up the room for the optometrist is an expensive business, and this piece of kit is the best.
That's the best.
Absolutely the best thing, and we've just started using it. So the biggest challenge for us really this year is to show our enthusiasm to people, to make them want to have this this screening done.
This screening done. And what will it see when you've done that screening?
Well, when you screen somebody, you can actually look at the layers of the retina.
Right.
So you're looking underneath the retina at the layers below. And if something is starting to go wrong or bubble up, you'll see it beneath the surface first, before it comes to the surface to do its damage. So it's preventative.
I see.
So the whole thing about this screening is to actually do preventative,
And it gives you a bit of a USP, a unique selling proposition, because you've got that in your shop now.
Yes.
And so hopefully the investment will turn itself around in more
I hope so.
customers.
It's been very well received. We've been using it now for about the last 6 weeks or so, and it's been very well received. Once someone's had it done, they
want to have it done recurrently.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's very good. Any more machines on the side? Any more expansion ideas of how you can niche out a bit more into?
No, a lot of people say to me, would I like to open a second practice? But I don't want to do that. I want to have one and run it really, really well.
So is there any event that's coming up for you? Anything you want to share with the audience that they might come to and see you or experience your machines? Anything?
We will be, next year, we're going to be doing a low visual aid day, which we will obviously be talking about probably about February next year, where we will get the manufacturers down with all the low visual aids. Because I've got a variety of magnifiers, but I can't have all of them because there are so many. So we're going to do a great big open day with everything here.
Good. Well, Anne, it's been smashing talking to you. Thank you very much for your time. And for you folks out there, so really when we listen to Anne and her challenges and her experience, it's important to have good marketing in place when you start your business, but also when you run your business on a continuous basis. You can't really have a business without any marketing, because how do you expect people come in and learn about you and come to you? And the other thing is, obviously, if you haven't got the skill sets, then networking is a good place to be, to learn about people that have those skill sets that can help you with your business, like HR, when Anne talked about it. So that's it for this week. Thank you much for watching, and I'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.